Self-storage is big business and helps create space in our overcrowded homes.
Oh, my goodness.
As we thought, it is actually a load of rubbish.
But some have taken their storage hoarding too far,
We had her cremated and the vet put her in here.
clinging on to things they never see or use.
There's a lot of memories in 2 boxes.
And it's costing them a fortune.
He's spent about £80,000 in total, which is just... I try not to think about that.
I'm Maggie Mackenzie, and I'm an expert in clearing junk and people's excess baggage.
This isn't looking good so far, is it?
I'll be asking hoarders to unlock the doors of their units,
Right.
empty out their stash,
I'd like him to skip that.
and choose to either keep it, skip it, or sell it. Our antiques expert will then pull out any hidden gems
His original violins can fetch hundreds of thousands of pounds.
Yes!
to take to auction and make some hard cash. In today's show, it's a family affair.
Oh my God.
Two sisters are having to do it for themselves when they confront a father's legacy.
This is actually the little boy behind everything in these units.
And a father and son uncover hidden horrors.
I thought you'd like to see Matthew.
I'd like him to skip that.
But will they uncover some hidden gems?
£700 going.
One thing's for sure.
Something's got to be done now.
Welcome to Storage Hoarders.
Hello and welcome to Storage Hoarders. It's a family affair in Putney today as I help two sisters and a dad and son do battle with their belongings and decide whether to keep, skip or sell their storage stash.
Our first storage hoarders are sisters Debbie and Jules. They've inherited an archivist's habit of hanging on to a past that so far cost them over £3,000 in storage over a couple of years. So, what's the deal?
We've got this unit, we hardly visit it, not entirely sure what's in it, and we really need some help.
Jules and Debbie are South London girls with a lifetime of ephemera stashed away in Putney, where every year Oxford and Cambridge battle for supremacy on Old Father Thames.
Oh, look, that's your christening, Deb, I think, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that is.
Yeah,
That is. Look, there's you.
The sisters now have a hand-me-down hoard of emotional baggage to face.
We got the storage unit when our father died and we needed to clear the house because he'd sort of collected a lifetime's worth of stuff in there.
Everything that he kept made sense to him and everything had a meaning. So my word for Dad wouldn't be a hoarder, it would be an archivist. But whenever he's travelling, he'd keep napkins and any brochure he picked up.
And the little thing you put your drink on, and if there was a collection of plastic cutlery, he'd like that.
And he was always making notes. So we got all the notes as well, but he had a legible handwriting.
Dad's father?
Well, there's going to be a lot of his legal stuff there, isn't there? So where do you find that?
The whole thing is quite emotional. You know, it is all tied in with Dad and his death. And he was old, but, you know, all the same, it's like the end of an era. And so I think we realised we've come slightly to the end of the road on it all and we've got to make a decision.
With my help, decisive action can turn clutter into cash.
There are items there which will definitely be of interest, maybe to a museum, maybe to a collection. Valuable and interesting items which should be out in the public domain for other people to share.
Dad and his delightful eccentricities are deeply embedded in the girls' hearts, but holding on to them in storage is a burden on Jules and Debbie. I need to convince the sisters that his legacy has more value in their memories than gathering dust in a crate.
Hello ladies, now you two are sisters and you share this unit, is that right?
Yes.
So all the stuff's been in there since your dad died?
Yes.
And what's in there exactly?
Boxes and boxes of books, paintings.
Some valuables, like china, like some lace. We're not sure whether they're valuable, but we think they are.
How are you feeling about seeing the stuff again and going through it all?
Bit strange.
So do you think you're ready now to do this?
It's been 2 years, so there's something about that sort of time frame where you sort of think, that's actually quite a long time. You sort of wake up one day and think, this has been a long time.
Half the problem is there's so many different elements in the unit.
Yes.
So it's not just furniture, you can make a decision on that. It's not just books, but there's all sorts of other stuff as well. I mean, there's about 80 paintings in there.
80?
We think, yeah.
How good are you two at making quite quick decisions? Because we haven't got endless amounts of time, and there's a lot of stuff in there by the sounds of it.
Well, I think it's going to be difficult, but I think because there's two of us,
Yeah.
and I think it's going to be much easier because I wouldn't have felt confident about making any decisions on my own.
And the objects, I think pretty much every one of them will bring back some kind of memory of.
Absolutely.
And it's a feeling of that real sort of cut-off in that.
OK, should we go and do it?
OK.
Come on, then.
With the presence of their dad still lingering, I'm determined to make Jules and Debbie's task as painless as possible. Our next hoarder is Michael, who together with son Matt hopes to rid his life of needless clutter and move on. He's already spent over £2,300 on storage. So what's his take on all of this?
When it comes to storage, I think I'm pretty sentimental, actually. You know, there's a lot of stuff there that has a lot of meaning and memories to me.
Michael has property in Spain, but he's currently staying with friends in Putney to sort out the trappings of his previous life by tackling the contents in his storage unit.
I suppose I've spent nearly £3,000 there over 2 years or so.
We need to get rid of it.
About 3 years ago, I separated from my wife, and I was working abroad, and I had to sort out a whole load of stuff, and I had to find somewhere for it to be stored very, very quickly. So I got a storage unit, moved it all in there, and haven't really looked at it since. So that was 2 years ago.
I didn't even realise my dad still had the storage. I mean, generally he's quite, I suppose, business-minded. You know, he's always throwing. So certainly my stuff, as a kid, I remember I'd come back and he'd have thrown out some of my toys because they were taking too much room. So, well, he's certainly not emotionally attached to my stuff. But we'll find out whether he is with his stuff when we get there.
There's certainly things there that I know, you know, thinking about my home going forward, I'm never going to use again. So I'm hopeful that I can clear a lot of it. And then I think, you know, there's going to be surprises there. There's going to be stuff I don't know what's in there, and I don't know how I'll feel about it.
Matt's right behind his dad on the business of downsizing, but is he the right man for the job?
Cheers. Let's have a good day.
I do not throw away stuff at all. I've still got shirts from the 1990s that I won't get rid of. I mean, they're completely out of fashion, but I'm waiting for them to come back into fashion and be retro or something.
So will having a sentimental son on board stand in the way of diminishing Michael's hoard?
The bottom line is that I have a load of stuff which I'm never ever going to use again, and I've really got to sort this out. It's now or never.
I hope I can keep Michael to his word.
So how long have you had the unit?
I've had the unit for 2 years now.
What's in it exactly?
I know there's an old antique dining table and chairs. There's a grandfather clock. I know there's some CDs, and I know there's some vinyl albums. And there's a few photos of the kids, which I'll obviously keep. But apart from that, there's a whole load of other stuff, and I don't even know what I've put in there.
Have you felt that you've missed any of those items over the time?
Well, that's the point. I certainly haven't missed them, because I don't think I have any use for them anymore.
And are you quite sentimental about stuff?
I am generally. I'm probably worse than him. I like to hoard a lot of stuff. I don't really throw anything away.
Do you know what? I've got a slight worry that when you lay your eyes on some of this stuff, you go, oh, I want that, I want that, I want that.
There's a high probability of that, I think.
Is there now? I've sussed you out already. It would be great if you could make some cash from this stuff, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So if you did, have you got a plan for anything?
My daughter has just bought a flat, so I'll probably give her some money to help her furnish it.
Oh, I think that would be nice, wouldn't it? Don't mind your sister getting some of this cash?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind at all.
Well, this sounds like quite a straightforward job, doesn't it? As long as we can keep you under control. Yeah? Should we get starting?
Yeah, let's do
it.
So, we have met our hoarders who clearly only meant storage to be a short-term solution. Now it's time to open the steel doors and see what's lurking in those units. Coming up, Jules and Debbie come face to face with a mass of memories.
Dad was in the 8th Army and wore it when he witnessed the bombing of the Abbey.
And Michael's lavish past comes to light.
How much did you pay for that one?
Don't ask.
10,000 quid, I think.
You wouldn't get that for it.
Welcome back to Storage Hoarders. I've been helping 2 hoarding families keep, skip or sell their long-forgotten stash in the hope of raising some cash.
Earlier, we met Putney sisters Jules and Debbie, whose eccentric father left them with a universe of curiosities. While expat Michael has a house full of yesteryear to shift if he's going to move on. Later, our resident expert will inspect the hoards of artefacts to reveal the hidden value that could coin it in at auction. It's the moment of truth. Jules and Debbie bite the bullet and crack open their unit.
Oh, goodness. Blimey. Oh, look, can you see up the, all those...
There's that chair. Do you want to just grab hold of
The sisters appear to be faced with an organised mountain of boxes, but in each box are the intricacies of their father's fascinating life, which straight away reveal a precious moment in time.
This is the watch he called the time the Battle of Monte Cassino. It's a Longines watch. Dad wore this. He was in the 8th Army and wore it when he witnessed the bombing of the Abbey.
With the girls immediately getting tied into the sentimentality of their heroic father, I think they've got a real battle on if they're going to clean up and clear out.
Look, Deb, these are what he wore when he was serving.
Oh, yes.
That's his dog tag. And there is his number, 5675124.
Brilliant.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
That is fantastic.
Yes. This is stuff we really
There's
will keep.
a ton more of stuff like that. Tons.
Oh, yes. Golly. We've got lots of boxes, haven't we?
Yeah, we've so far found quite a lot of Dad's medals and wartime memorabilia, so we're just going through boxes that we think we call the treasures, that have got a lot of his stuff in. So
Yes, there's the ring, that ring, Deb. That's
oh, that's the ring.
It's a
yes.
diamond ring.
That's apparently, I think that was my mother's engagement ring.
Really?
Yes.
Diamonds?
Yes.
It is.
It is.
Wow.
It's clear Jules and Debbie have set themselves a real challenge. With so many family mementos to sift through, I'm worried they're going to be distracted from the job in hand.
This isn't a huge unit, but my goodness me, it is rammed with stuff. It's really well packed, isn't it?
Yes.
We need to get everything out. Simple as that. So should we start to do that now?
I guess so, yeah.
The girls must think quickly about which items to keep or sell and which throwbacks to throw away. Now it's Michael's turn to unlock, open up and find a home for his hoard.
Oh my God, what have we got in
What
here?
is this rubbish?
It's what Michael has found the need to cling on to for the past 2 years.
This looks breakable.
Looks like there are a few little surprises in store for both of them.
That's hideous.
Where's this even from?
I think it's from Grandma's, actually. She didn't want it. Oh my God, we've got a whole collection of Dalton figurines.
They worth anything?
No, I should think they're worth
No?
absolutely nothing.
Okay, got that. Moving on swiftly.
Good idea, Matt. Obviously not tempted by Granny's figurines.
Does anybody
Oh my goodness, what
Yeah.
an extraordinary unit. It's weeny, but my goodness, you've packed it well, haven't you?
Yeah, it's an Aladdin's cave.
It certainly is.
Aladdin's cave.
This looks like some sort of art installation with the shapes of the chairs.
Yeah, I'm the new
Yeah.
Tracy Emin of Wandsworth.
Oh, was this yours, Matt?
I think it was my mum's.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
About 60, 70 years ago.
I remember when they used to have these covers on them.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I don't feel sentimental about that.
You don't?
No, no,
Good
no.
for you. Let's fling it then.
Yeah.
Right. Should we get these chairs then?
Now that's my kind of man. Michael certainly has got the right idea. And so far, Matt's not got his mitts on anything.
How old is this, do you know?
It's kind of Regency or early Victorian. In the old house, I loved it because it had a big dining room and, you know, it showed it off well. Haven't got a place like that
Great,
anymore.
I love your attitude now. You know what, I think I've seen enough here now. So get a wiggle on, please, because I need everything out, OK?
Yep.
Okay.
ASAP.
Okay, we're on the case.
See ya.
Michael is so laid back, he's almost horizontal. To help our hoarders clear their units, I want them to sort their possessions into 3 categories. Skip it for all those unwanted pieces, keep it for the items they really do love, and sell it for the bits that could bring in some cash. I've also included a charity bin for those items too good to chuck. I want our storage hoarders to get tough with their stuff. They have just 3 hours to sort through their possessions. I've arranged some extra hands to help move all their items to a larger space so our hoarders can see exactly what they're dealing with. Michael's compact unit has opened up to reveal what looks like a neat and manageable pile of items from his old house. For Jules and Debbie, the odds of getting through all those boxes of family memorabilia are stacked against them. Add a gallery of over 80 paintings into the frame, and I think you might agree this is a big ask. It's time to get sorting.
This is properly, Deb.
They're keeps.
It would be nice to get somebody's opinion on that.
I thought you'd like to see Matthew.
I'm not pleased he's keeping these. I'd like him to skip that.
This is all Dad's military books.
Yeah.
They might go to charity.
As the cell.
Oh, look.
There's Mum. She was in our house. No, it's great. Look, it's
And
poems
she's-
and queens.
No, we've got to keep these.
While Matt and Michael are looking like men on a mission, Jules and Debbie have turned to a chapter in their father's life when he self-published a book called The Velvet Tigers.
There are endless manuscript copies of these, and it's difficult to throw away, but really no one's ever going to look at them again, and we're never going to be able to read them because his writing was really quite illegible. So I think it's time today to make the tough decision about throwing these away.
This is the saddest part, actually.
Why? Because we're never going to read them.
So the writing's on the wall for Dad's old manuscripts as the girls' skip pile begins to take shape. Among the many boxes of memories, Debbie has come across some beautiful antique lace her grandmother once collected. I want to find out what they plan to do with these memorable pieces.
One of the things here is the christening dress. Both my sister and I wore at our christenings.
Oh,
we were there once that size, and I think that came directly again from my grandmother. I don't know whether it was something she would have had commissioned, and whether indeed it was something my father wore as well, because they put all babies in little dresses, irrespective of whether they're girls or boys.
So what's the plan for all the lace?
Well, I think it's something we'd very much like to get the expert to look at for us today and give us their opinion, really. But I think in terms of the christening dress, it's not something we really want to sell, and I'd hope very much to at least keep this in the family, because it does follow directly from my grandmother.
To help find the value of the items they do want to sell, I've called in antiques expert Tom Keane, who's been dealing in all things old and wonderful for many years, to take a look.
I'm not a lace expert, believe it or not, Aggie.
I don't. There's something he's not an expert on.
He thinks these wonderful pieces deserve a trip to a lace specialist to find out more. Tom is taking the girls to an antique shop on the King's Road. As a period clothing specialist, can Stephen Lunn shed light on their grandmother's lace? And will he make them an offer?
This is an interesting looking thing. I think it's a wedding veil, but I think that it's not made as a wedding veil except by somebody who made it at home, really.
Lace is very popular and highly fashionable of late, thanks to Kate Middleton, the Duchess with a penchant for the pretty fabric. It was originally a status symbol for the aristocracy, and until the 19th century was produced by hand in many European countries, including Italy, France and England, with some of the finest examples crafted in Brussels. So, where was Granny's lace made?
So this is a nice veil. This here is a bit of Brussels lace here, but it's a little bit made up and not an original one as such. So that's that.
Is that good or bad?
It's a nice thing, but if it was a complete Brussels lace veil, it would be much, much better.
The value of lace is determined by the handmade workmanship, quality of design, the age and condition. However, it's not easy to tell the age of lace, as there are not usually any manufacturer marks. Therefore, experts like Stephen look at the design and fashion to see how the craft of lace design has changed over the centuries.
Now this, I think, is a lace sampler. I think it dates from round about 1620. This is needle lace here, and this is embroidery here, and embroidery with a bit of needle lace there, and then this is a needle lace panel. So it's a sampler to show different techniques of embroidery and lace.
Well, Stephen, thank you for sharing your knowledge.
You're welcome.
Let's talk turkey. Are you interested in buying this?
I am, yes, I am.
And what sort of money have you got in mind?
I'll risk $550.
There you are. I'm going to stand back out of the way now, my job's done. There you are.
Fantastic.
I'd say £550 for grandmother's old lace collection makes that a worthwhile visit.
I had really no idea how much lace was worth. I just didn't have a clue. So it has been a real surprise, and we were absolutely delighted by the amount that we got.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah,
astonished,
very
actually.
pleased and surprised.
Yeah.
Back at the storage unit, the boys appear to be casually chipping away at the hoard.
Pasty
Hello,
table.
how's it going?
We're nearly
you
there.
You seem very organised.
We're nearly there.
My goodness, I'm very impressed. Oh, look, there's the grandfather clock. Wow. This is gorgeous, this table. Is this mahogany?
Yeah, mahogany.
Yes.
It's Regency, so there's 2 bits and then 3 panels, so it seats 16.
So it's not a reproduction?
No, that's over 200 years old there.
Goodness.
How much did you pay for that one?
Don't ask.
A lot.
10,000 quid, I think.
You
it's
wouldn't
been.
get that for it now.
So, Matt, do you remember this table in the house?
Yeah, I mean, it was in our big dining room. We used to have a lot of Christmas dinners there and that sort of thing. But I'd have no problem with it selling it, for that's for sure.
You're cold, aren't you? Callous. Where's the sentiment there?
I'm a bit more attached to these albums. So we've got a
let's have
few
a
Bob
look.
Dylan ones.
I do like Robert.
I'd hang on to the vinyl.
Is he allowed to hang on to the vinyl?
As long as I don't see it again, I don't care.
With time slipping away, our storage hoarders need one final push to get their keep, skip and sell piles into order. It looks like Michael's made great progress with just a small keep pile, and there's a large selection to sell, including some paintings which have caught my eye.
These are some Indian paintings that are done with, they call them one-hair paintings. They're done with a one-hair brush.
Must take forever doing something like that. Never mind 3.
Yeah.
Are they very old?
Yeah, the paintings, not the frames, but the
Yes,
paintings themselves are like a couple of 100 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
And are you willing to sell these?
I might be. I might keep them, but
Yeah.
I think it depends on the value.
Yes. OK.
Finally, something Michael feels remotely attached to. With his sorting sus, I wonder if there's money to be made here. Jules and Debbie have had a tougher time. It's been a sentimental selection process, but they have made decisions with an impressive lot going to charity. But there's something that's bothering me.
Now, you've got a very large keep pile. I'm slightly concerned about it.
OK, it looks large. You're absolutely right. But we have got a plan for getting rid of it. We're going to have a deadline to close the unit entirely. And
which is in a month's time,
in
is
a
that
month's
right?
time, yeah. So maybe not the ideal solution.
Jules, how have you found this experience overall today?
I think I have to say I found it more stressful than I thought I would actually find it. But at the same time, I'm really glad about the amount of stuff that's going.
Oh, Aggie, there was one thing I wanted to show you. You remember we were looking at the lace earlier? And I said I thought that my dad had worn that at his christening. And unbelievably, here we have a photograph.
Oh, my
goodness.
goodness.
And I think this is the very gown. They used to call him, his name was Douglas, but his parents used to call him Boy. And there we have it, Boy Line. That's his father. And there he is in the gown.
Oh, my goodness. So this is actually the little boy behind everything in these units.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
It comes cause you all this trouble.
Well, it's not a trouble at all, Dad.
Oh, he's forgiven.
He's forgiven entirely.
So, with our storage hoarders having sorted their keep, skip and sell piles, next it's time to find out if our expert Tom thinks there's any hidden value in their items. Coming up, are Debbie and Jules in the money?
This is what we call in the trade proper old money items.
And will Michael nail a top price when the hammer falls at auction?
600.
Yes, pass through. Yes.
680.
Welcome back to Storage Hoarders. It's a family affair in Putney where I've been helping 2 sisters and a father and son take stock of their storage and decide whether to keep, skip or sell their belongings. Expert Tom Keane has been dealing in the world of antiques for many, many years. But what will he make of Jules and Debbie's mountain of sale items? Could they be sat on a fortune?
Well, Tom, I'm really excited about this collection of goods that the ladies have here.
This is what we call in the trade proper old money items. In the 19th century, your relatives were wealthy, they had nice things, and we don't often see collections like this anymore. So it's nice for me to come and see a massive array of things and get excited about them. I'm like a kid in a sweet shop. How old do you think that bowl is?
It looks modern to me, but what do I know?
I'd say 200 years.
Not bad. It's about 1785.
Wow.
To get that condition of a first period Worcester bowl is very rare. I'm going to be very conservative and say £200 or £300 for that.
It looks like Jules and Debbie have inherited some valuable treasures from their dad.
Nice pair of plates. These are Chinese, late 18th, early 19th century. Those two will make £100, £150. Right, so we've done the Chinese plates. Now we're down to the Japanese plates. Satsuma designs.
What does that mean?
Well, the Satsuma is the gold. These aren't too valuable. They're quite nicely decorated, though. I think this lot will make £200 or £300 at least.
It's already beginning to tot up, and we've only just scratched the surface of the girls' sale items.
You've also got this vanity case, a ladies' travelling vanity case, late Victorian Edwardian. I've checked it. Some are silver plate, some are silver. It's been matched up with bits that have been lost over the years, but it's still a minimum of £200 to £300, even though the case is knackered. But it's got a lovely little clock in there, heart-shaped travelling clock. That's lovely, isn't it?
Yes.
Nice enamel dial and a bit of damage, but nice thing though, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
Yes.
£200-300 all day long.
Tom's had a field day going through the girls' family heirlooms. In fact, he's almost been spoilt for choice. However, he suggested the items to go to auction are the Worcester bowl valued at £200 to £300, the Chinese plates valued at £100 to £150, the Japanese Satsuma dessert service £200 to £300, and the travelling vanity case, which, despite its tatty appearance, should also fetch between £200 and £300. The other items Tom thinks will look attractive at auction are some stunning Imari plates estimated between £200 and £300, and a Spode chestnut basket valued at £50 to £80. But what about their father's paintings, which he spent a lifetime collecting? Tom has a feeling there might be some hidden value among them and has called in art and paintings experts Cameron McMillan and Tony Sullivan to cast an eye over them. If they like what they see, they might just make an offer.
Who's this chap here?
This is our father. He was in the Battle of Britain. Yes, he was a Spitfire pilot.
Interesting. So he's entitled to be painted a few times.
Yes. He had a great collection of artist friends, and if he ever came across any artists, he would usually commission a portrait. Yes.
Well, that was nice of him to give him some money.
Yes, he had a huge collection.
For Jules and Debbie, the only value in their father's portraits is of the sentimental kind. To get a value of a painting, you need to know its provenance. Ask about the financial history and look for any distinguishing marks such as artist signatures or stamps. Check on the back for any writing or a gallery label which could reveal where it's been displayed. The more detail you have, the easier it is to price up. So, do Jules and Debbie have anything of value in their dad's collection?
We found, but I'd like to claim the benefit here.
Oh, yes,
some Edgar Holloways here. We've got 2 watercolours by him. And he's... Were your parents Welsh, by any chance?
Yes, on my father's side.
From because he's a Welsh artist. Well, what I know him for, best of all, are his modern British etchings, portraits of fellow artists and self-portraits, which 25, 30 years ago were almost thrown away by print dealers, have suddenly rocketed.
Right.
And are worth £500.
So, what does this mean for the sisters' watercolours?
They're quite nice watercolours, I must say. They're nice. For nice views, and obviously topographical views are of more interest than views of just landscape, so at least you know where they are, so they have a colloquial interest as well, which is always a big advantage. Yeah, they're very sweet.
And is there cash in the paintings?
I like the 2 Holloways. I think they're very pretty. I think they're very nice and bright and light. Yeah, I would like to buy those 2.
Okay.
I would definitely make an offer.
In the thousands?
£1,500, about £1,500 for both.
Are you happy to take £1,500 for them?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Nice work, Tom. What do you think of that, girls?
Really happy.
Yeah.
It's not what we expected.
No, and I think you can almost hear Dad laughing, chuckling away.
You can.
Thinking, well, that's a good thing.
Yep.
Yes.
That's a great result. Now let's see how Jules and Debbie's other items fare. We've come to an auction house in Chelsea to see them go under the hammer. Jules and Debbie have already raised over £2,000 from the paintings and antique lace. Let's see if we can make even more money for them at auction today. Is there anything that you've got particular high hopes for?
I think the vanity case, I think that would definitely reach its reserve. I mean, it's not a complete set of stuff, but what's in there, individual items, I think people will be quite attracted to those, actually.
And how do you feel about actually selling this stuff on? You feeling slightly guilty?
Not so much guilty, it's just strange to see these items all ready to go. It's going to be a strange afternoon, I think.
The sale is almost underway, so are there any items of particular interest to today's auctioneer, Nick Carter?
Out of Jules and Debbie's lots, the one thing that stands out for me is that first period Worcester bowl. I think it's a very nice bowl. They've also got a variety of Japanese plates, Amari and Satsuma, and they're all priced quite well, so I think they're not going to have too much of a problem shifting as well. I think they're going to do well across the board, really. They're going to do all right. The only thing that worries me with them a little bit is their vanity case. It's a bit of a mess.
Well, so far the girls have made a tidy profit. Let's hope they can continue their little flurry.
So thinking about the money that you've made already, say you had £3,000 at the end of all this. Have you got a plan for that £3,000?
Well, I mean, at first, when we started doing this, I was thinking, oh, well, I might get something for the dog or something like that. But obviously...
Like a bone?
Well, or a new collar or something, one of those bling collars. But I think now, well, our ambitions get scaled up. And I suppose I've had a little thought, maybe do the garden up a bit. It's in the right mess. So if there's a bit of money there, it would be nice to spend on something and you can think, oh, Mum and Dad, when you look at it.
Yeah, maybe save a little bit, but actually treat myself to something nice for our flat or something.
Yes, that you'll see every day.
Yeah, exactly.
OK, ladies, the auction's about to begin. I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're off, and first up is the auctioneer's favourite, the Worcester Bowl, with a reserve of £180.
Who'll bid me 180 on that? 180. Anyone want to bid me £180 on that piece? Anyone going to bid me 180? Yes or no? Once, twice, 3 times? Not sold.
Oh. Well, that's not a great start. Maybe the Satsuma dessert service can beat its reserve of £200 and keep us sweet.
160. Anyone want to go 160 on that? No? 1, 2, 3. Not sold at 160.
Better put that new garden on hold, Debbie. I'm feeling a bit nervous now for the Amari plates, which Tom valued between £200 and £300.
Anyone going to bid me 180, 200, 220's bid, 250's against you, sir. 280, 280 new bidder, 300. £300 is bid and 20, 320. What about £50 now? £320 to buy a 17. Going.
Goodness.
Sold.
Wow.
That's more like it. Above the estimate, and the girls are back on track. Next up, will that tatty vanity case buck up the bids?
Vanity case. Right.
We'll start the bidding off there, 160, 180, 180. What about 200, 220? 220's bid. I'm at 220. Do I see any more? Gone. Sold.
220.
Yeah. Jules and Debbie are doing really well now, and with the chestnut bowl selling for its reserve of £50, it's down to their final item, the Chinese blue and white platters with a reserve of £80.
£80 is bid for these. 80? For the pair, 80, 90's yours, ma'am. 5's against you. 100. £100 is the lady's bid on my left. At £100 and selling, all done. At £100, going, gone.
£100.
That's a fine end to the sale of their items, with the platter selling for £20 more than their reserve.
You got it, ma'am. Well done at 100.
So, ladies, so most of your stuff today, how's it been for you?
A bit disappointed about the first 2 items.
Yes, that was a shaky start, wasn't it? But then, after that, it was good, wasn't it?
Actually, really pleased with that.
Jules and Debbie had already made £550 from the lace and £1,500 from selling the paintings to the specialists. After commission, they've made £552 from their auction items. Add the £1,688 a year they'll save when they close the unit, and the sisters are sitting pretty to the tune of £4,290.
You haven't cleared your unit yet, have you? You've
Not entirely.
downsized it slightly?
Yeah.
What's the intention now, going forward?
Well, we're actually going to auction off a lot of the items in it.
Got a taste for it now, haven't you?
You've got a taste for it. So the whole unit's going to be shut down at the end of the month.
fabulous. How did you find the whole experience from start to finish?
It has changed my attitude towards stuff and where to put it. So I think now when I buy anything, I'll think, have I got anywhere to put this, as well as do I want it? So it sort of changed me in that way.
I think their father would be pleased with what Jules and Debbie have achieved, and it sounds like they're determined to stay clutter-free. Coming up, Tom delivers his verdict on that 10 grand table.
Don't tell me how much until I give them the bad news.
No. But do the bidders agree when it goes under the hammer?
You'll start me at 12 for that. 1,200.
Welcome back to Storage Hoarders, where two sisters and a father and son have opened the doors on their storage.
What is this rubbish?
Hoping to declutter and downsize their units. Earlier, Jules and Debbie traded some family heirlooms into serious cash, selling their grandmother's lace and some of their father's paintings for just over 2 grand. Add to that their auction success and the money they'll save on storage, and they're quids in to the tune of well over £4,000.
Oh my God.
It's now time to catch up with Michael, who's drafted in his son Matt to help release him from the shackles of his hoard. Michael has spent over £2,000 on storage in 2 years.
First day covers, I think they can go.
He's now spending most of his time in Spain, so is determined to make some cash and say adios to his stash. I've called in Tom Keane, our antiques expert, to have a rummage through the items Michael's planning to sell and see if there are any nuggets in the pile.
Do you know, Aggie, it's nice to come to a lock-up where you see some nice things.
What about the table?
The table?
That Michael spent quite a lot of money on, didn't you?
Don't tell me how much until I give them the bad news.
No.
Aggie, feel the weight of that for me, please.
Yes. Oh, my goodness, this is it's solid.
I always say you can always tell a good one by the weight.
Uh-huh.
Now, how tall do you think this is?
4 foot.
That's good news too. The cheaper models are 3.5 foot wide. As soon as you get to 4 feet or 4.5 feet wide, the price goes up. So it's a good table. It's got 3 extra leaves. It's an extending dining table, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, if it came to my auction room today, I'd be saying 1,000 to 2,000 to draw people in. It's a good table, and I'll lift that back over.
Oh dear, that doesn't sound great for something Michael paid 10 grand for back in the 80s. And what about the chairs?
They're a set of 8, including 2 carvers. They're not bad. They're worth 450 to 750 now. The table, you get a bidding war over. The chairs, they'll wipe their feet and get out the door. That's the best thing I'll say about them.
So, Michael has some decent items that Tom selected to take to auction, including that 10 grand table, which is now valued between £1,000 and £2,000, along with the 8 Georgian dining chairs. Other items set to go under the hammer will be a grandfather clock, some Royal Doulton figurines, 2 Staffordshire Spaniels, and an Indian white gold ring.
What about these Indian paintings? Michael was telling me that they're single hair brushes.
I believe so.
I never listened to that malarkey. But did you buy these in India?
Yeah.
Whereabouts?
Jaipur.
Jaipur. These are Indian classical art. They need to go to a specialist to look.
Right, okay.
Some of these will be worth thousands of pounds.
Right.
My gut feeling is £500 to £800 for the 3.
Yeah.
These paintings are certainly intriguing, so Tom thinks they should be seen by an art specialist.
Nice to be reading.
He's brought Michael along to meet Oriental art dealer Poppy Strothert to hopefully shed some light on their origin and value.
I bought these about 8 years ago when I was in India. I really don't know anything about them. I'd just be really interested to hear the story.
OK, well, I think they're probably late 19th century or perhaps turn of the 20th century. They're book leaves.
Oh, OK.
And I've just found in this book here that if you look at the subject matter from this painting on the right, it's very similar to this 17th century painting, which is from the Ragamala series.
Can I have a look at that, please?
Please do. My guess is that they're probably Rajasthan. They're a bit like illuminated manuscripts. It's not a dissimilar idea in a way, with this sort of very jewel-like painting.
Though many Indian paintings have the artist's signature, it's not uncommon for some to be anonymous. Experts like Poppy can still tell a lot about the value of a painting by the quality of its detail and the various types of subject, with some fetching millions of pounds at auction. So, how do Michael's compare?
They're not the greatest qualities of perhaps 16th, 17th century paintings, 18th century paintings, but they are very decorative.
So what do these lack that a 17th century or something that was very fine has?
It's partly the drawing.
Okay.
Things like the hands and the feet and the faces are not top of the tree.
What do you think they're worth?
I think there is a market for them, and it depends what you want to do with them. I mean, I don't know what you think, Tom, but I would have
I'm not going to tell you yet.
Oh, OK. OK. I would have thought on a good day you might get 4, something like that. But I think realistically about 2 to 3.
My gut feeling, I think they're worth £500 or £600. I think they're sort of 150, 200 quid each. So it's up to you. They're your pictures, what sort of estimate you want. But I think they'll do quite well, because I think they're quite nice.
Not a figure to brush aside. Michael sounds like he's very attached to his paintings, but is he now tempted to part with his art?
I think I'd forgotten I'd had these pictures, and it's really good to sort of find them and get the story behind them. It was just absolutely fascinating today to do that.
We're back at the auction room where Matt has left Dad to see how all of his items stack up when they got under the hammer.
Gone, that's sold.
So, what about those Indian paintings? Are they included?
We had those valued, and yeah, they're worth hundreds rather than thousands.
Okay.
And I've decided I'll keep them because I really like them. You know, it's one of the few things that's actually worth at least as much as what I paid for it.
Yes. And have you got a spot where you're going to put them on the wall?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take them down to my house in Spain, and they'll go really nicely in one of the bedrooms.
The paintings are going to Spain, but the table still up for grabs.
That's just behind us, isn't it? Yes. It's massive.
I know. I never realised how big it was. It's,
I know.
It's huge.
It's really splendid.
Well, hopefully somebody else thinks that.
I know. I've noticed a few people looking at it already.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And
Does
the
that
chairs
include
as well.
chairs? Are they separate?
The chairs are being auctioned separately.
OK.
With the hammer about to fall on Michael's items, what does our auctioneer think of his lots?
I think Michael's got some really good lots in this week's sale. The dining table he's got is a nice, good, standard bit of Georgian furniture. He's got a good set of dining chairs as well, which kind of match it. They're a little bit later, but it's a nice set of chairs. Michael's also got a grandfather clock, which it's not a great clock. You should get 350, 400 quid for it. He's also got a pretty ring, the Spaniels, which they're not really Chelsea, but they do tend to sell. Dalton figures, though, that could be a bit difficult. They're so way out of fashion now. No one's interested in those anymore. He really is going to struggle with those. But the rest of it, I think he's going to do all right.
So you're fairly optimistic that everything will be sold today?
I sincerely hope so. I don't know where I'm going to put it if I have to take it home, you know.
And with the auction about to get underway, let's hope Michael can turn his old furniture into something new for his daughter's flat. First up, the Dalton figurines.
From a good estate, we've got the Royal Dalton figures there. Does anyone want to bid me 50 on these? £50 is bid. I'm going to sell unless I see any more. Gone. You got them, so 860 and 50.
You happy with that? Yeah.
Well, it's a right royal start with the figurines fetching £50 and the Staffordshire Spaniels bringing in a respectable 40. Next up, those 8 dining chairs.
Set of 8 at 450. Ridiculous estimate at 450.
Ridiculous estimate.
450. 5 bid. 50, sir. 550. 580. 6, sir. 600. 620.
Yes.
650. 650. 680. 7. I'm going to sell at 700. Going. Gone.
The chairs sell for just under Tom's top price, which is good news for Michael and his daughter's flat. However, it wasn't quite the right time for the grandfather clock, which didn't sell, and surprisingly, nor did the lovely Indian ring. Michael's been very laid back throughout the whole process, but I wonder if the mood will change as the mahogany table takes centre stage with a reserve of £1,500.
Who'll start me at 12 for that? 1,200. 12, I have 13 here. 14. 14, 15 here, sir. 16. 16 bid. 17 anywhere now. 17 now bid, sir. 17 new buyer. What about 18, sir? At 1,700. Once, twice, 3 times at 1,700 with 531. Got
Great, 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 great. Well, despite being only a fraction of what Michael originally paid, £1,700 is still a lot of money, and I'm sure will buy some new pieces of furniture for his daughter's flat. So, how has he found the whole experience?
I'm really pleased to have got it over with, actually.
Quite exciting, wasn't it?
Well, it was, you know, and I was very pleased that at least 4 of the lots sold, particularly the big stuff, because if I hadn't sold that, I'd have had to have put it back in. Yeah.
Michael has sold 4 out of the 6 items he brought to auction, which, after commission, leaves him with a clear £1,992. Add to this the yearly saving on his redundant storage unit of £1,560, and his daughter will be pleased to hear she's richer to the tune of £3,552.
So how's it all been for you, this whole decluttering business?
It's been really good, frankly, because I knew I had to do it, and I needed a bit of discipline from you to get me started.
And you think your storage days are over?
Oh, I think so. I'm not buying anything from now on.
Ever again.
Ever again.
Well, that's one decluttered dad with a very lucky daughter.
So there we have it. Our storage hoarders are no longer in denial of their hoarding habits, plus they have some hard cash from their hidden gems. Don't forget to join me, Aggie Mackenzie, next time on Storage Hoarders.